In April 2012, I had the pleasure of supporting the coordination of a Young Leaders Exchange between young people in the UK and in Sri Lanka. The exchange aimed to build the capacity of young people to effectively advocate for change in the areas they cared about, to develop them as leaders, and to learn about another culture. One particular session grappled with the makings of a good leader. Like, what does that mean? That's what the session was about. The facilitator chose to explore this topic through a walking debate. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever engaged in a walking debate, but it's where someone reads out several statements and participants either have to agree or disagree. But the room is split up in half. So this side would be agree and this side would be disagree. You're not allowed to stand in the middle because that's the middle ground. You have to have an opinion and you have to be prepared to defend your opinion because it's your opinion. The facilitator stated, "Men are better than women." Now, without a second thought, I thought, what? Listen, all of us need to run over to the disagreeing side of the room. So I was there ready. You know, you think this is going to be a breeze. I mean, who's really going to agree with that statement? Lo and behold, I turned around and two of my Sri Lankan brothers were on the agree side of the room. So I allowed them to explain. And you know, when you kind of get ready for an argument to think, I'm ready, like anything you say, I'll shut you down because the reality is you're wrong. And they stood on their side of the room and they explained that although Sri Lanka had had the first female head of state that the world has ever seen, the reality is men are more prominent in leadership positions and hold more leadership titles. And they attributed that difference in number to the fact that men just have a better capacity or greater capacity to lead. Then it was my turn to speak. And, you know, everyone thought, because the way I was standing, everyone was like, oh my gosh, just calm down. You know, this is about cultural exchange and learning and understanding. And I started, but instead of arguing, I spoke about the most phenomenal woman I know. To you, she is Mosamola Damole, but to me, she's just simply Mummy. That's what I still call her today. Never having held a formal leadership title, she epitomizes the words of former US President John Quincy Adams, who said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." My mum inspired change in my siblings and I. She did all she could to push to ensure that we reached our potential, irrespective of the circumstance that we lived in. She forced us to grow and she made sure we had faith in every single thing that we did. My point was that my mother is an ordinary woman who, if I said to her today, "Mum, I'm going to Sri Lanka," she's like, "Where's that? I still don't know today." But she's an ordinary woman who chose to live her life in such a way that inspired change in me. But the beauty of it is that every single time I have the honor of training a young person in another country, my mum is inspiring change in them as well. Last year, I spoke at an event and said that for too long, we have erroneously believed that with the right people in power, the world would be a better place. Like, we always believe, like, if this person was in charge, you know, all the world's problems would not exist. But I challenge that concept. I believe with enough people empowered, the world would be a better place. The ability to inspire change is not about a title. It's not about a position. It's not about wealth. It's not about education, and it's not about your ability to articulate. Inspiring change is about ordinary people playing their part, awakening to purpose, and being part of the solution to a problem that they see in the world. One of my favorite films is The Freedom Writers. Has anyone seen that film? It's just the best ever. I love it. I watch it every so often, about every 2 months. I sit down and I watch it. It's about a woman called Erin Gruelle who inspires me, and she was a teacher who went to work in a really bad school in LA where like they were killing each other at lunchtime. Like the school was just, Ofsted would have just shut it down and put red tape outside. And she goes to work and they give her a particular group of students who literally turn up because they have to. They're not learning. Some of them can't read and they're about 13, 14 years old. And there's a part of the film where you begin to see the change that she has, the change that she causes to happen within them. And she begins to teach them about the Holocaust and the Nazi regime. And as part of the learning experience, each student has to read the Diary of Anne Frank. In the book, they decide that they want to meet Miep Gies, who was one of the people who hid Anne's family before they were captured. And after reading the book and they were really engaged, they decided that they wanted to meet her, so they did a fundraiser and she came to their school. And after she presented to the students, one of the young men stood up and he said, "I've never had a hero, but now you're my hero." And she responded to him by saying, "No, young man, I'm not your hero. I did what I had to because it was the right thing to do. We are all ordinary people, but even an ordinary secretary or a housewife or a random person can in their own small ways turn on a small light in a dark room." I'm passionate about people reaching their full potential. It drives every single thing I do. And I'm very uncomfortable with the fact that socioeconomic barriers exist that hinder people from fulfilling their potential. I believe in creating opportunities for young people to grow, in creating enabling environments for them to participate in change, and in building their capacity to be active citizens in the world. And whenever I say that to people, they congratulate me on my efforts and like, "Francesca, that's so wonderful." But I don't believe there's anything to congratulate. I'm just an ordinary person who wants to leave a legacy that reads, "Because I lived, other people were able to breathe easier." I don't think that's noteworthy. I just believe that's what needs to be done. The truth is, we are all ordinary people. What do you believe needs to be done? How will you inspire change? And what will you do to turn on a small light in a dark room? Thank you.